G'day everyone, and welcome back to round 10 of the Esports Club Series. We've got a nice course today. We're looking at the Chomper. And before we get into the course, we want to welcome another host, Anna Russell, usually a producer, now back to the commentating roles. Anna, excited to be here with you.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a late call up. Katie is ill, so we're sending our best wishes to Katie. I'm seeing a lot of chat coming in from the pens from my production seat saying this is going to be a bit of a spicy course and this is going to be pretty hard. 2 laps of the chain chomper. Do you want to take us through the course here, Jethro?
Yeah, sweet. So starting with, basically they start straight into the climb with about 2Ks in. We've got the Castle K and QOM first, and then they move on pretty quickly to my favourite climb in Zwift, and that of course is the Temple K and QOM, which we know is the gravel climb up through the sort of Japanese forest there, super special. Then they descend back down. We have the country sprint, and they do it all over again. And so the segments today, we're looking at the Castle KOM, then the Temple, and then of course the sprint. So finally, Anna, the sprinters have their day in the previous rounds, and now it's time for the climbers to get their mix.
Yeah, these climbs are pretty brutal as well. I mean, they're hitting that Castle KOM first, which is pretty short, 2.7K at about
Mm,
2%, but it pitches. So it's sort of
mm.
easy and then goes up to that 8%. It just really stings the legs. And then you're hitting that gravel climb. Now, because the bikes are neutralized, it won't matter as much, but this is where you'd want to be on your gravel setup. But they're going to be going, it's just painfully slow on a roadie up a gravel climb. So I feel a bit sorry for them. Should we see, before we hit down to the racing, where are we at the club standings?
Oh, yeah, here we go. So in the third place, still occupied by Randwick Cycling Club, then Bathurst, and then, of course, the Waratah Masters Cycling Club just taking out first place and got quite a buffer. But the Vikings and the Gold Coast are nipping on the heels of Randwick and trying to get on that podium. So it'll be interesting to see if any of the riders from Gold Coast and the Vikings can sort of get some good points and push themselves onto that podium.
Yeah, it's pretty tight there in the club competition. We do have a live feed here from the men's race. So they've just started out. We're on board with C Ball here. They're all sticking pretty tightly together. Like I said, there was a bit of chat at the start about how painful this was going to be. A few people saying, I think I'm going to drop off early. So we'll have to see what happens. I mean, it's the Makuri Islands. I love them. I actually just before we went live, did a team time trial around
Oh.
the Makuri Islands, and a lot flatter this one, but it is a great course to do. But I don't know, these pinches really get me, and I kind of lose sight of the beautiful scenery and just see red.
I do anything I can to get off these country roads. I really enjoy getting onto the temple and the castle climbs. They're actually really well built worlds, and they even though they are climbs, Anna, they're like you mentioned in the preview. They sort of go up in steps, and so does the temple climb as well. I kind of get a little bit annoyed when I'm out there on a race on the temple climb because there are a couple of moments where the gradient goes down to 1-2%, and it allows the sort of guys and girls who are just hanging on to get a little bit of draft. So there is hope for the sprinters. They want to hold on, but it is favoured in the climbers' side today, at least.
Yeah, I do want to note that a sprint is coming up. So they do have the country sprint to start off with, really just to kill the legs before they
Oh,
get going. And the men about to hit this one. The women are actually on a very similar part of the course. So we might
mm.
just jet over and have a side-by-side view. As you can see the women out there as well. Here go the men. They may
Doesn't
not.
look like they're really kicking for it, are they?
No, it doesn't. It's I think it's really. Oh, we do have a couple going for this. Might be a bit of a
Yeah, Crystal
surprise.
Ball.
Came up very quickly on them. A few women there going right at the last minute as well. So that's an interesting little addition with the country sprint there. Usually that is around the finish line. But yeah, next up will be the Castle KOM, not too far away.
Yeah. Kate Spicey looked like she got the women's sprint there, and she knows how to race on Zwift. She always knows when something's coming up. She definitely pays attention to the racing and the course breakdown as well. She doesn't get caught out missing a sprint here or there. Sometimes with the course, I guess, structure, like we just saw there, where the first sprint wasn't too long after the neutral. Some riders can get caught out thinking that doesn't count. But someone like Kate Spicey, she's pretty experienced, and I mean, she took that sprint pretty easily, even when we have the sprint machine, Marjan Magari, who last week was just on a warpath.
Yeah, and I think they've made a good point there. That was the lead-in sprint, so that's why we didn't see many people going for that. Part of the lead-in, unfortunately for them, was a little bit of a sprint banner, but we see that everyone's got the ticket tonight and they know what they're going for. I've actually seen on the women's side there was a new rider there, and they were letting them know that there were points available at every arch. So that was nice for them to do, because you just kind of leave people in the dark and say, "Oh yeah, it's just a scratch race," and suddenly you're off the bat because everyone's gunning it on all the the banners coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a nice little group here, actually. Yeah, they good size, about 12 riders. We've got Catherine Ellie up there. It's good to see her back. I don't think she was racing last weekend, but she had a really good NRS esports series. But not long till they hit their climb, they sort of turn left, I think, off, or might be turning right off this road, and they'll be hitting it very soon. And it's yeah, it's a super climb, and I think the scenery on the
There it
climb is actually
is.
really cool as well. Here it
Yeah.
is.
And I think what this climb, it's so interesting. This climb, the Castle KOM, is actually longer than the Temple, but the Temple is an average of 3.5% with some real kickers here. This one starts off, as you can see, so flat. So the points go to the fastest time segment, so the fastest climb that they can do on this course. And yeah, it's sort of, it's hard because do you go really fast on this flat part where you're kind of, they're even on a downhill at the moment, even though they're officially on the QOM. So it's a really hard one to try and get right. And you can see here, most people know the benefit is to stay in the draft, but it's not going to be a particularly fast climb. I think once it kicks up as it is now to that 4%, kind of rolls up, people might start putting in some effort.
Yeah, that's a good point to consider how to take on the fastest time through the segment. But yeah, we've got someone off the front just here in the men's race. Looks like Carl Marwood is up front. And who's he got with him? Mr. Campbell is also there. Nathan Campbell from, well, he's got Life Cycle in his name. So early adopters just trying to make their advantage on that flatter section. And this is where the gradients start to kick up. And it's almost sort of snakes its way up the course as well and kicks up. And here is a man who is on form, Anna, Sam Hill. I think he
Oh,
was second in his Zwift Racing League Divi 1 race yesterday, and he's really coming to form. Trent Stevenson, some real hitters have emerged up front.
yeah, absolutely. These guys are. This is where it really starts to kick up. There's, I do actually, I will pull in the side by side because the women must be going so fast. We've got Ellie here from Randwick pulling off the front at 7 watts a kg. This is insane. So, like I said, it's a climb that just starts so tame, and then suddenly you're sort of all over the show and just absolutely drilling off the front. This is impressive performance from her. Look at these gaps she's got to those riders behind. And now this is danger time too, because you get to the top of this one, there's actually not a downhill. You basically stay flat, go up some
Mm.
more, and then hit Temple KOM. So you're just on a huge uphill now, basically until halfway through the first lap. Then you've got a huge downhill to finish off lap one. But this is not a pleasant part of the course.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good point. They do keep continuing on to the Temple climb. And Catherine Ellie, she's been, well, she's continued her training from her successful NRS esports campaign. The men are all still together, more or less, but this is going to be interesting to see how the race breaks up for the women. I mean, we've seen in the sprinter heavy courses in the previous rounds, most of the bunch really staying together for all the sprints, but with two back-to-back climbs, I think in the women's side we're going to see it break up and stay broken up once they get over the top and descend as well. But looks like McGarry is trying to get across to Ali as well, and she's proved that she can handle a few climbs. So if we get a little front group, that'll be interesting. A little break of four for the women, and the men. Well, the men are all still together too.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the men are still together. This is just coming around the really steep part of this climb. You can just see in that mini map in the top right hand side, they sort of weave around, then they do really a big 360 and then hit the banner. I think what's going to happen is now they're all together, it basically flattens. It's going to be a sprint finish for a KQOM point. So Oh man, I just you're looking at some of the heart rates here. You got 160 for Carl Marwood. He's been early off the front, and aero power up being dropped now. I don't think the right timing. He should really be taking
Mm.
that for the sprint, and I think he might end up getting rolled at the finish line, unfortunately, by some of these early ones like Fowler here opening up.
Yeah, fella, super quick. He's definitely had a few good digs earlier. He's using the feather, and it looks like he's timed it pretty well. About 40 meters to go. He's going to be
Oof.
home safe, I believe. It's going to be super close, but it is Fowler who takes of that sprint first. Not bad at all. And then the women, they're just approaching it now. Will we get a bit of a battle here between Ali and McGarry? McGarry pulling away too, proving that she can climb. And I reckon Ali is just trying to, well, she's trying to rally to get on the wheel, and we've got two up front, Anna.
Yeah.
This is an interesting combo. Kate Spicy looks to be in between in third place with Lara Peach not far behind. So there is a chance a chase group could form there, but with Ali and McGarry up front and the Temple climb to come, they've got a chance to stay away.
I mean, what do you think here? Is there, can they bring back McGarry and Ellie at the front, or is 18 seconds just a bridge too far? I mean, they were climbing so hard on that Castle
Mm,
KO, and the next one, Temple. I mean, shorter, but I'd say harder. It's a more sustained effort. And I know Spicy, like she's got the legs, but I think it would actually be better for her to stay with this group, and hopefully on the
mm,
really long downhill they have after the next
yes.
climb, the group would have a little bit of benefit.
Yeah, that's 100% what I was thinking. As soon as they go, they need to stay together, this chase group here, a group of five. Yeah, they need to stay together, just pace it over the top of the temple, and then use their numbers. We all know it's much, much, much quicker in real life and in Zwift, descending in a group. And it is a long descent, and then they have that flat until, well, up until really the base of the castle KOM. So there's lots of kilometres there for them to bring them back. But over to the men's. Here, oh, I love this. Turning onto a little bit of gravel single track. Who have we got up front here? This is Windsor. Ace. What a name like that. First name Ace. Love it. He's starting off uh, just bogging the gravel bike, well, the road bike in the gravel here. And the bunch, I think they'll be happy just to let him sit there for a little bit, Mr. Ace. And we saw them all together, Anna. I think we might see a few attacks going up the temple in the men's.
Oh, absolutely. 4 seconds ahead, 3 seconds now. They're just kind of letting him dangle there. And look at that heart rate, 172. Really, really
Oh,
high RPM there too from Ace Windsor. It's,
mm.
I would say on Zwift, sometimes you're better off sort of just cranking that low gear out of the saddle on these types of climbs. You can just see how slow these bikes look on the gravel. I mean, I love that Pinarello Dogma, that sort of
That's a
monochrome.
great bike.
It's a great bike, isn't it? Not for gravel, but it is a great bike.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, the Pinarello gravel bike doesn't actually, in real life, doesn't actually look too dissimilar to that with the shaping. But yeah, interesting choice of bike actually. I think it'll let him dangle there. He's not really punching massive watts there, at least from the men's perspective. About 4.5. He's probably sitting at his around about his threshold. It's 4.1 on Zwift power, but he's probably just sitting just above it. They're starting to bring him back now. Looks like Trent Stevenson is just putting the hammer down a touch, but still a big group there as well. And we've got Campbell, a little bit of a front group here, and yeah, Campbell's now chipping off. So yeah, it's starting to thin out, Anna.
It is. I just want to, because I saw this on the other screen, I just want to note here Kate Spicy. She has done a bike swap to a gravel bike. She's now on the Canyon Grail. I'm not sure if she is aware that the bikes are neutralized in this club competition. And I hope that they are. Otherwise, we would have had a few other bike swaps. But maybe she's just going with, maybe this will just give me a little bit of edge. Maybe there's a little bug in the background and it's not going to work. So she made the swap, and she did that pretty quick. I wish I had it up on screen, but it was about a 6 second swap there. So pretty impressive.
Oh, wow. That's what I was mentioning earlier. She really is an experienced Swifter. She'll have the keyboard shortcuts down pat to do a change in 6 seconds. That's you really have to know what you're doing. And of course, changing your bike on a climb like this Perhaps she didn't know that it's not neutralised. I mean, when I first started commentating these races, I thought they were all in play as well. So, to be fair to her, she's doing pretty good in the bunch. And shout out to Canyon. That medium Canyon Grey with the red, with the E-Tap is available in November. So I'm just waiting to place my order for that bike because I want it. And November they're available.
Ooh,
Seriously, I'm actually
nice.
getting it.
Oh, well, I mean, they look great. That double handlebar, it's very unique. On the men's
It
side,
is.
unfortunately, Ace Windsor completely blew out the back. He's now 37 seconds off the back, desperately trying to get back on. We've got Trent Stevenson, who really picked it up with Seaball off the front as well, from E. Randwick, with fan favourite Sam Hill also taking it out. Looking good in the Aero kit. I know that they'll be looking forward to the Zwift Grand Prix League coming up at the end of September. So he's obviously getting a little bit of work in. See how he goes for that. But I would almost place him doing pretty well on this climb. I think he's the one I'd pick to take out this KOM.
Yeah, good call for sure. Even though it is a tough climb, it has tough segments, it's still really a power climb with its length. And with someone who has the raw power like Sam Hill, it's just his watts are so high and his hair. Look at that thing.
Oh no.
Yeah, he's going to be tough to beat on these sections. This is what I was talking about, where it just sort of touches down to 2%, and it gives you a little. I really don't like the boardwalk part because that's when you can sort of just get back on and get a bit of draft. And yeah, so he's a big chance. Campbell there. It's good to see Campbell showing his cards as well. Nathan Campbell. I don't think we saw him earlier in the race. Who I'm looking for is Adam Benrose. I'm quite surprised he's not around, and it's Connor Reardon in the bunch because he was on the start list, but I don't see him here.
Is there a Australian Masters Cycling Championship coming up this weekend?
Ah, it's on today. They had the road race
Yes.
today.
Yes, I did wonder
That makes sense.
if there was going to be some of those big names that we usually see not out just because of they may have raced earlier today in
Good
their
point.
Masters competition. But on the women's side, we're seeing Ellie and McGarry. They are a little bit further behind the guys now, so they're about 8 kilometres in, and looks like Sam Hill was taken by ball though, with Stevenson in second, Campbell in third, and then Sam Hill really stretching it to get back on.
Oh
Fowler,
yeah.
unfortunately, about 7 seconds back now. And this is
Oh
not a good place to be because, like I said, huge downhill now, basically to finish off the
yes.
entire lap. And if you're not on those wheels, this is a
Oh
long rest of your race ahead.
yeah, absolutely. Just trying to find Fowler is weight on Zwift power, or hopefully he's on the heavier side because I certainly struggle on those downhills, especially if you're on your own. And hopefully he gets a little bit of help there from Will Hodges. He'll like to see Hodges with him and maybe one or two others as they hit this descent. The women doing really well here. These two out front working well together.
Who's
This
going
is
to
going to
take
be really
this?
interesting.
Same clock,
Well,
but there must be individual glory on the line here, right? Is that going to open up a sprint here? Will you say Ellie over McGarry?
no way. I don't think so. McGarry, I would not want to face her in a sprint at any time ever. She is absolutely rapid. Maybe the climb has taken a bit of sting out of her legs, but look at her leave a little bit of a gap there, track style to accelerate into. So we'll see if she does kick into her draft there and
Oh,
try and
no.
overtake her. But at the
Look at that.
moment, she's just powering along. A little bit of a power up from Ali there, but it's not going to be enough, I don't think.
Oh, is
It's
it?
going to be pretty close. No, she kicks again.
Oh, oh, McGarry takes it
She
with
was
her
sleeping.
teammate. Oh, that's and we've got Kate Spicy, who is now sitting in the lonely, isolated place of third A woman on the race course, with the next one 13 seconds back. So this is going to be quite a long race for her now. It's basically an individual time trial. She did swap their bike and she's managed to get ahead. So I'm just wondering if they maybe weren't neutralized, because this is
Maybe they're not because she's brought back the gap a bit, Anna.
yeah, this is pretty significant. I mean, she's 12 seconds ahead of that chasing group, and they're going pretty hard. Do want to shout out, she's got the No Drama Llama kit on, which I just think looks
Oh, is that
amazing.
Katie's kit?
I'm not sure, maybe, yeah, from her group rides. I think it is. So we'll shout that out.
The no drama llama.
Isn't that
He's
awesome?
so good. And the matching socks, Anna.
I mean, this is a good setup. She's looking Pretty fly here. Bike, socks, shirt, all kind of matching. She's got the nice S Works clean white shoes. Yeah,
Oh,
this
well
is a
done.
good Zwift look. This is I'll
Katie,
give that a thumbs up.
yeah, spicy. That is absolutely world class Zwift style. Love it. And the little Fly 12 at the back as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Beautiful.
If she watches this later, though, if you're going to ride a gravel bike, make sure you're on the CADX gravel wheels because they're about 15 seconds faster than those stock standard Zwift wheels that you see there that
Ah,
Kate's got on. So that's something I found out about a month ago. They got released kind of on the sly and didn't realize they were that much faster.
yep, I purchased them straight away. I just happened to see it on Zwift Insider, only because I didn't have them. And who have we got here? This is back to the women's. This is in the chase group as well.
Yeah, this is
They're
the
heading.
Bs. Bit of a chase for the B winners. So this is Bowen. So the A's and Bs race together in the women's field, and this is Bowen. So they're kind of chasing Spicy down with the other A rider there, Peach. So yeah, that's looks. I reckon they'll catch Spicy. I don't think they're going to be catching Ellie and McGarry. Which means that it'll be a big battle between those two for the most points that they can get individually. But great day out for Randwick Cycling Club.
Yeah, Randwick doing really well, trying to consolidate that third place and push to try and take Bathurst for second, who are taking second spot. In the men's race, we can see we have, what have we got? We've got, this is the front group. Sam Hill just trying to get back
Yeah,
on using this
dropped off.
downhill section. He a little bit dropped, but this is his terrain, -1%. He'll accelerate onto the back of that group. No doubt there might have been a little bit of attack there, but we've got Kyle Marwood, Nathan Campbell, Will Hodges, of course, Fowler there as well, Stevenson, Hill, and that is your front group of seven, and a super strong group of seven as well. We've got two Aero in there, and a rider out front. Kyle has been,
Yeah,
he's been really active today, Anna.
Bilby. He's putting his name up for that golden Bilby, I think, because this is looking good. I mean, just
Mm.
attack after attack after attack for this guy. This is good.
Yeah, he's a great Zwift, I guess, build. He's 89 kilos, 188 centimeters. I wish I was that size because that is raw power. And look at it, we're seeing it up there, 400 plus watts, just cruising at 88 RPM. He is settling in, and he's just dieseling away. This is big power, and he's
Yeah.
on the right type of course to make the most of these watts.
I'm just surprised he's managed to get away on a downhill with, a group of 4 or 5 behind him, that he's able to keep this gap going.
Look
Um,
at the power they're doing, though.
yeah,
They're doing 2 watts per kilo.
what are they doing? I guess they think they'll just catch him again, but he's not. I mean, his heart rate's relatively high, but I wouldn't say he's redlining it at the moment. He's keeping it relatively in control. Extended out to 8 seconds now. I mean, what are these guys doing behind? No one wants to chase.
Yeah, well, his 20-minute threshold on Zwift Power is 396 watts, so he's sitting around his threshold just over. Had a chance to recover after the descent, so I mean, he can hold this for, well, I'm sure around 10 minutes or so, which is probably what we've got left in the race, or a little bit longer. And let's face it, his finish line, um, Kyle would be probably at the top of the temple because he could descend down. So they don't want to let him get away. It's up to 10 seconds. We've seen with the Kiwi rider, I've actually forgotten his name now, Machine, in the NRS season. Once you let someone who's super strong get away and you get the Group 2 syndrome, Anna,
Um,
at the plus 15 seconds, it's very hard to bring back.
Yeah, and you sort of, I guess you mentally go, oh, well, I guess they've got all the points. I think as well, because we do have a sprint, 4 bonus points coming up before they go into their second lap. I think they're just thinking, you know what, we're just going to go get heaps of bonus points here for the fastest through segment, and he can take all the finish line points he wants. And that's what
Mm.
maybe why they're letting him go. It's a little bit of a different dynamic when people are really vying for points. Do want to say though there is another chase group on the road, but quite a bit further back. They're pushing harder than the first chase group, but they've cut in a bit of time. But I don't think they're going to be able to make up that sort of 50 seconds in the second lap.
Yeah, you're certainly right with that one. I'm just trying to find out what the actual MKYCC is. Is that? I'm just having a look, see what club that is. I'm not sure, but I was just thinking with Fowler, he'd be very happy sitting in that group because he's obviously operating under the West Coast, the West Waratah Masters Cycling Club, which are sitting first. So he's in I mean, he's got no reason to chase.
Yeah, absolutely. There is some weird people are dropping to 0 watts here. I don't know what is going on. Are you seeing this? They're going
Yeah,
up
trying
to
to aero
2 and
cut.
then just dropping to 0. It's so bizarre.
Wow.
I don't know if that's an error. I have no idea. I've never seen this before. So many people dropping to 0 and just it's
This
like
classic, it's just what
something
happens
really
outside.
weird. Something weird
Look
is
at that.
happening
That's
there. They're just
classic Group 2 syndrome.
oh my god, they're just messing with each other. That was insane. I've never seen that before. That was crazy.
Well, Anna, you know what I think they were doing is I think maybe were they just saving it for the sprint and then having a launch because they
Yeah.
sat up until the start of that climb and they all lit it up together. I think they were all going right. We'll just stalemate until the start of the segment and then see if
Yeah.
we can nail the fastest time. But really, you need a proper lead into the segment to get the fastest time. Like you still need to be doing your take your 50k an hour into the segment. Don't start at 45 and accelerate to 60.
That was like the biggest track stands in Zwift I think I've ever seen. Just all 4 or 5 people just dropping to 0 watts and then suddenly going for it. That was really entertaining to see actually. Looks like Fowler took the third fastest time there. And it might have been Ball there taking out the fastest time through that country sprint. So now, after they've really nailed their legs with that, they are into lap 2. Jethro back into
Wow.
the Castle KOM, which they'll be hitting. And like we saw before, basically all uphill for the next, about 7 kilometers. So
Yeah,
brutal
that's
time.
right.
And will this group stay together, or do you think? Are they going to go after Marwood, who's still about 23 seconds off the front now?
Oh yeah, he's certainly settling in. They actually just before I get into this, the sprint before reminded me of the baseline ride for the Zwift Academy. If anyone else out there participated in the first baseline ride, where you have to do the sprint, then the short little punchy climb, and then the volcano. The sprint was, I mean, I was doing what those boys were doing, sitting on 0 and then lighting it up orange, and then dying shortly afterwards. But
I'm just going to, sorry,
yeah,
show the replay of it because it was so weird.
oh yes.
So if you look at their watts on the right hand side, they're all 0 right there. They're all sitting at 0. They're going like suddenly, and look, they're all stopping pedaling. It's the most bizarre
They've still
thing to
got a good
see.
speed though,
Yeah.
52 k's an hour.
Well, they're on
So
a downhill.
yeah. I think Fowler's the first to light it up. We're interested to see what he peaks as watts per kilo at, if he can get that, because he's got a pretty good kick, Fowler, as we've seen. I mean, they all do. They all sort of went over that 11, 12 watts per kilo mark, but we should get to see Fowler just sort of launch first on the right-hand side.
They're
Really
still sitting
bizarre.
at 0. Like they're on a downhill, so I guess they could just stop pedaling and kind of roll and stay in position. But you see, and then
Yeah.
suddenly there was sort of a big flurry of orange numbers. Fowler's on the front. There's not a position he wants to be in, but everyone else is feathering really well. I'm actually going to use this tactic. This is a great way that they've been doing that. And look at this. They're still so... There he goes. He lays it down now, puts the power up, goes
There we
early,
go.
opens up at about
Bang.
14 watts a kg.
Wow.
But
Ball
I,
responds first. He hits 14 too, and doesn't look like anyone else really gets near the 14 mark. Stevenson's touching it, but yeah, Ball and Fowler. I mean, with a 100-meter sprint, if you're starting sort of 20, 30 meters ahead and you've got 14 watts per kilo under your sprinting belt, it's going to be, there's not enough road for you to overturn that.
oh, absolutely. We've got Kate Spicey. She is just gone through the sprint. She's pulled away from the other A category rider behind her, Peach there with Bowen, who's leading the Bs by quite a lot, about 30 seconds ahead of Falzerano. So these two are looking good chasing her. We've got Ellie and McGarry still side by side at the front. They're about to hit the start of this long climbing section of this course, but these two, they're just locked in, dialed into
Yeah,
each other. And Ellie here I don't know if McGarry would be starting to get annoyed. Ellie here is just sitting on her wheel. It's reminding me, as she comes ahead, maybe she can hear the commentary. It reminds me of, was it Carapaz and, Agita in the Vuelta recently?
oh, Higuita, yeah, Sergio Monster. He wouldn't he wouldn't come through. I imagine would they be talking in Spanish? I'm not sure, but I'm sure there would have been a couple of swear words in Spanish thrown at Higuita.
Mm. Yeah, it kind of
Two of
reminds
the
me of
highest,
that.
well, yeah, they're actually two of the riders born at the highest altitude, both over 2,800 metres. They were born above sea level.
Oh, wow.
Um, to both of them, yeah, especially Carapaz. But yeah, it's a good point. They are working together a little bit, but Catherine Alley's got a really good sort of short kick. So I think she's going to try and use this when it does kick up a little bit in the Castle KOM. The Temple one's probably a bit more sustained for her, but I think we'll see Ali throw down her sort of 1 minute 90-second power and see if she can drop McGarry, because that's playing to her strengths.
I do want to note here in the men's field, that lead that Marwood had of 30 seconds is now 9 because Sam Hill is on the front and has decided
Whoa.
enough is enough. I am going all in at 8 watts a kg and catching this guy, and I don't want to have a breakaway. So Sam Hill not happy to not be on the front, and now it's 5 seconds. Marwood devastatingly will be caught on the second climb. They're currently on the Castle KOM. Hard for Carl. I wonder if he'll have any energy left to jump in on the back of this group.
Well, at least if you're getting caught at the top. But he has been going for he had about an 8.5 minute effort above 420 watts, or around about 420 watts. So these guys are moving now. And if Kyle's got anything left, he's got to launch onto the back of this during the flat part. Otherwise, he is not getting on. There's a chance he's still working super hard, 5 watts per
Oh,
kilo there. And he's working so hard, but I'm not sure if he's going to get on the back of Stevens' wheel. And this is Sam Hill
what's Sam Hill
using.
doing?
He
Right
is
at the
just.
back.
He is off the back. Wow! It looks like he's thrown. He's
Blowing.
sort of launched, and Was he perhaps working for a teammate, bringing that break back?
Does he have a teammate up there? Because I'm just looking at this and thinking he
Um,
put in all that effort to catch, and then suddenly he just the others sprinted over top of him, and it's like kaboom, just nothing left. I mean, his heart rate before was up around the 182, so he was really pushing, and now I think he's just completely blown.
Yeah, he might have. He perhaps he's done a race before this race as well, but we'll have to find out what happened there. Marwood did manage to stick with the group. He is having a great ride. I mean, the only thing I can think of, Anna, was that he was working for his aero teammate rather than his club teammate, trying to get, I guess, the best result for their esports team. But now we have a group of 4, and it's good to see a few more two more sort of competitors we haven't seen so much yet, and that is Nathan Campbell and Kyle Marwood. But we've got Stevenson there, who's super fast as well, and Christo Ball, who's super strong. And we haven't seen much of him today
Mm.
until now, and that is usually a good sign.
Crystal Ball. I know you and Katie were talking about him a lot last week.
The Oracle.
The Oracle, he knows what he's doing, and I've seen him taking out a lot of these fastest through segments. So I think he knows the
Yeah.
game and he knows how to pace them right. We're on the women's side as well, and I can just see that McGarry is opening something up. She's dropped a feather. She's up to around 7 watts a kg there. Ellie desperately trying to stay with her. I mean, I know they're teammates, but I think at the moment this is a mano-a-mano battle. Will McGarry take this opportunity to go, you know what? Let's just take this climb all in. There's not going to be a draft benefit with a group behind me. I could maybe drop Ellie here.
She's trying, that's for sure. I really think this is her wheelhouse. She loves the steep, short, sharp efforts, and she stayed over 8 watts for the last 30 seconds, and she was equal to the task.
Yep.
McGarry going to have to step on it a bit more, but now Ellie's in the back, and how about the feather power up? The timing, well, for a power up, it was perfect. It was just the wrong one. Had she got the aero boost there, I reckon she might have even gone a little bit further past. But Ali has
Oh,
not dropped the power. McGarry with a second kick. They are racing for this first through the segment here, but it's going to be McGarry who's just pushing ahead of Ali, who she's not giving up. She's in the wheel, and this is going to be a serious battle for that final Temple KOM, because these two women are, well, they're equals here today, Anna.
yeah, I got to ask though. I just noticed there McGarry's cadence was up to around 120 to 130 across that sprint. I mean, is that what you sprint at? I mean, I just cannot get my cadence that high when trying to push some power.
Not on the ergo. Yeah, like I mean, out in the road, your optimal cadence has been shown to be between 105 and 120 RPM with practiced sprinters. But yeah, on the ergo, there's less momentum and inertia on the bike. So maybe she's got super fast speed work. She might be a track rider, McGarry. I mean, she might have really nice speed in her legs, but yeah, that's high cadence. I mean, we've got Kate Spicey here. She's just stuck in no woman's land, isn't
Yeah.
she? As she passes near the little
The
cherry
others are
blossom
close though. The others
there.
are just around that corner. So you've got Bowen, who's actually dropped
Oh
Peach there,
yes.
the other A rider. So Bowen is about 2 seconds ahead. These guys might come together again, but Spicy's doing really well to hold these guys off. She'll come through in third place in the A category. Bowen there looks like she'll be in first place for the B cat. She's miles ahead now of the chasing Howard and Falzerano in the women's B. On the men's side, I do just want to note that Trent Stevenson has taken a bit of a flyer and he's got Crystal Ball on his heels. Sam Hill, he's not out. I do not know what happened before, but he's had to talk to himself. He's riding at about 6 watts a kg and he's only 9 seconds behind Trent, 3 seconds behind Campbell, just working his way up the pack now.
Wow, he's maybe he's doing intervals. I mean, this happened a couple of rounds ago back in the London course where he was in the front move and then all of a sudden he was doing 1 watt per kilo with a K to go. It was really perhaps he had a dropout, but here he is. He is steaming through the bunch straight past Campbell like he was well on a disc on a bike with a disc on a gravel road, really, and he's steaming. I mean, unfortunately, Carl Marwood has dropped after his huge efforts, but Hill is on a warpath, and he's got 7 seconds to make up, and it looks like Crystal Ball as well has started to make a move on Stevenson, and when you're sitting on 6.5 watts per kilo, it's super tough, but I wonder, Anna, can he bridge this gap? It's a lot on this climb.
I've just had a thought that I think what Sam Hill is doing here is really smart. I think he dropped back and he knows that the points are for the fastest time up this climb. The first time up, he was the second fastest. You can see there on the left hand side of the screen. And I think what he's doing is almost bunny hopping the other riders that were ahead of him and getting on their draft for even just a split second and then moving up. I mean, I think he'll end up getting the fastest time on this lap through because he's already down 7 seconds. Trent Stevenson's ahead. Crystal Ball's 10 seconds ahead. And I think they started at about 12 seconds ahead. So he's riding faster. And that's the whole point of this climb.
That's a very good point, and not sort of getting involved in any sort of racing that goes on when you're slowing, when you're responding to attacks. He's just doing what he loves and selling into a power and holding it all the way. And look at him pace this. This is interesting. He was putting more power out on the climbs. Now we've hit this flatter section. He's lowered the power a little bit, and I suspect when he hits a gradient again, we'll see that power number on the right hand side kick up again, because when you do a time trial, when it has hills and flats, variable sort of gradient, you do pace more watts on the climb and settle into threshold on the flatter bits as well. So I think you've nailed it, Anna. He is definitely trying to play this one like a time trial, and here comes the gradient, and up go the watts.
Yeah, I think he'll probably ride faster than Trent Stevenson did. I'm not sure if he'll go faster than Crystal Ball, who was looking pretty
Miracle.
good there. He pulled ahead. He was riding at about 6 watts a kg up some of those
Mm.
pinches. Looks like Trent was coming in for second. I'll be interested to see later in the results who got the fastest time up here. Because Sam
Mm.
Hill, it's not too bad. He did fade a little bit just in the last parts of that climb. So I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe wasn't the fastest up there, but if he's done it second fastest on the climb before, I mean, he's gathered a lot of points. So he's looking in a really strong position as we're seeing Campbell here just coming through, and then quite a bit of a gap now to Marwood and Hodges, who are sort of riding along together. But that was the last of the big climbs. Now it's a big downhill, and they've got to start thinking about a 100-meter sprint in the finish line.
Yes, they do. That's super interesting to follow, and we'll see what happens with Sam Hill on the bunch. I was trying to find his team just then, the Tamworth Cycling Club, or his club on the standings list. I can't see them unless I'm blind, but he's certainly doing his best to get the most points for his club, as is everyone else on all the other grades as well, A through to D grade, are trying to get points for their their club, which all add up. But these two, McGarry and Ali, based on McGarry's sprint, we know how rapid she is. I mean, she's the Lorena Webbers of the esports world at the moment, at least in Australia. And I think Anna, on Ali's behalf, she'll want to try and get away from McGarry because it's hard to go head to head with someone with that kind of power in a sprint.
Yeah, and tell me now, how do you? I mean, I look at Lorena Weavers and I just think, how do you go that fast? I'm going to tangent here, but do you? I mean, how much gym work? I've been wondering this. How much gym work do you have to do? I mean, how much of it is just explosive muscular power compared to really a lot of time on the bike?
Well, I think when it comes to sprinting power, a lot of it is genetics. Obviously, we've heard of everyone watching would have heard of the different types of fibers and your anaerobic and your aerobic, those sort of type one, type two fibers, and sprinters are either one or the other. But there's plenty of research out there that does show that that resistance training does improve power output in sprint, and they've tested that in sort of 6 second to 15 to 30-second wing gates, which of course we know are death. But I think most, from what I've researched and talked to riders, and a majority of riders will do their gym work at the pre-season and the off-season
Okay.
when they're not riding as much. But during the season, they don't usually typically touch the weights because the training load that they need to do for the Ks on the road is just too much. And trying to combine the two, something's got to give if you're trying to build strength and power. It's quite a bit, and you kind of have to work in the gym for around 12 to 16 weeks on other things before you even get to the power phase in strength training. But she's certainly fast, Weavers, and I think she's got the most wins this year
Oh,
as well in the
yeah.
World Tour,
Huge win rate
men's
as
and women.
well. I think 60% win rate or something of the races she's going in, something
52, I
crazy.
think.
Oh, was it? Well, yeah, you'd know the stats. There we go. I always round up a bit, make it a bit too generous. Looking here at Crystal Ball, he's broken away. So he put in an effort on the downhill and has now got a 9 second gap on Sam Hill. So Sam Hill has bypassed Trent Stevenson. He'll be chasing him big time because now that they're all in ones and twos, that fastest through segment in the sprint, we're not going to see any track stands this time. We're just going to be seeing all out, and they've got finish line points too. So it's a big points haul at the next line, and 8 seconds. I mean, can Sam Hill do this? They're not this. They're not far away from the line. It's downhill.
Yeah, he might run out of road. He is storming behind him. And what a flex from the Oracle, just operating the top spot on the leaderboard with the leader's jersey next to you. I mean, we all know at home how good it feels to roll around in Watopia with the jersey next to your name, no matter if it's the sprint or the climbing or the route. But I think Hill might run out of road here just on the downhill. He's going to have to go like 75 k's an hour to try and make up the difference. But yeah, the Oracle looks like he's storming to another victory and scoring some more points for Randwick. It's good to see.
Yeah, this is looking really good. These guys are really close to the line actually now. The sprint will come up really fast and it's so short. Looks like he will get caught by Trent Stevenson and Sam Hill, who are not that far behind. You can see the two yellow Trons just kind of hunting
Oh,
him down in the
yeah.
distance. So, yep, they're riding together. Well, the two Aero boys, and but they're leaving it very late. The sprint is legit just around the corner.
Will there be a bit of a lead out? Will Hill stomp on the pedals to give Stevenson a bit of a lead out because we know Stevenson is the better kicker, but they're still trying to catch him first. It looks like you're right, they are going to catch him. Stevenson's trying to get across, and now Hill, he's got a perfect little launch pad. They could 1-2 Mr. Crystal Ball just here if Hill tries to launch just now, and it looks like he is. That's perfect timing.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, there may be a funny thing here where we don't actually see the finish line, but they do. And it looks like Sam Hill has opened up. It will be just around this corner. I do believe it'll be a little hologram that they see in the world that we unfortunately do not. But Sam's done a great job there. And he has pulled away quite a lot. Maybe no, they're still going for it. So I think they will. I think we will see the finish line actually. Sam Hill. I'm really intrigued by Sam Hill's tactics in this race. He's kind of, I've thought about 3 times now that he's gone, but every time he's come back.
Yeah, and when he's come back, he is. I mean, we had that gap to Kyle Marwood, which Hill basically closed, and then he had 8 or 9 seconds to Crystal Ball and Stevenson on the Temple climb, and he's just put the power down and absolutely flogged it. So yeah, he's in serious form, Mr. Sam Hill. I think he had the state time trial championships recently as well, which he placed pretty well at. So he's training pretty hard at the moment, and it certainly shows. I'm not sure if we've actually hit the finish line yet, Anna.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just coming up. You can see in the little map on the right, they're going for that green sprint banner. So that's what
Oh,
we're
there
looking
he
for.
is.
But they're starting to do their weird track standing thing again. I mean, they've got 20 seconds on Campbell, so but he must just. It's orange numbers and zero all over the show. These guys are just. I think they're just trialing different tactics in Zwift and what works and what doesn't. This is an early breakout. The sprint still is quite some distance away. It's not just around the corner, and Crystal Ball's like, nah, I'm sick of these games, guys. I'm off.
And with the little aero booster as well, Stevenson's going to have to reply now with Hill in the wheel. Well, he's not really in the wheel, is he? This is Crystal Ball's timed a long sprint. Stevenson trying to hold the power. He kind of looks like he's cooked now. Sam Hill's going to have to come over the top. It looks like the Oracle is going to hold on and holds the two Aero boys away. And he rode a super good race and fought off Sam Hill and Stevenson really well. So a great ride. Stevenson there in second, and Sam Hill in third, who just rode like uh, he rode like a Terminator, didn't he?
I think he rode with the sort of the mentality of I'm just messing with you guys a bit. It was sort of like I've dropped off.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I'm back. I've dropped. No, I'm back. And it's just I would find that demoralizing as someone who knows how strong he is. I almost want to give the Golden Bilby to Sam Hill just for it's like he's like a cat with 9 lives.
Yeah, I think so. Well, it was a toss up between Kyle Harwood and of course Sam Hill, but I think you're right. I agree with you, and it's the Bilby, the Golden Bilby. I think should go to Mister Sam Hill today for those bizarre and impressive riding efforts.
Yeah, I'll be talking about it in our Zwift podcast tomorrow morning that I saw some track stands in Zwift, which I've never seen before. So I'll definitely be mentioning that. And looks like Spicy is with the other two now. So we've got a battle in the A's. We've got Ali versus McGarry, and then we've got Peach and Spicy up against each other as well, with Bowen there in the B Cat. So she's done really well. For second and third in the B Cat, we've got Falzerano, who's a little bit, only 9 seconds ahead now of second in the B category. So it's quite a hard fought battle there. But look at all of McGarry's jerseys. I mean, she's done a great job here, and she's kind of these guys. It's so hard to be tactical. They're sort of sitting on each other, and almost well, they sit on each other and then they ride side by side. One's like, no, I don't want to be leading, so they slow down, and I guess they can do that with a 2 minute buffer on the crew behind.
Yeah, they have been riding very closely to each other. It's an art when you see it done really well in the Zwift world, and one that gets better and better as the more racing we have. But I'm super impressed with Bowen. It looks like I'm calling A grade next round. Bowen, she's had a great ride, and she's getting some crucial points for the Vikings, who are sitting fourth, Anna, only 300 away from Randwick, who are also having a pretty good night out on a Thursday. But yeah, Ali McGarry, massive lead. Spicy chose to go back to the bunch. Maybe she just wanted to sprint, but I did notice earlier, Anna, that Spicy she changed her bike again on the castle. She was
Yeah.
on the Tron bike.
Yeah, she did. So she changed back to the Tron. I think she might look back at the coverage of this and go, I mean, I'm going to give her full points for the fact that she did those swaps so incredibly fast. She must have some macros loaded into her stream key or something. But yeah, I'll give her points for that. But I mean, I think there was quite a few seconds wasted. But to be fair, she's a minute 45 behind these two leaders. I don't think it was that much of a difference, like I think even if she'd been 15 seconds ahead of the two with her, I think she still potentially could have been caught.
Yeah, absolutely. It would have been good to see how much of a if we'll have to double check and see if the bikes are neutralised because it was about a 40-second gap when she originally went to the gravel bike for the Tempo KOM on a lap one. But yeah, she's had a great ride, and the style points I have to say for Spicy off the charts, flying the
Oh,
flag. Um, yes, I'm not sure. We've got a little bit longer to go on this downhill section, but I hope everyone saw earlier about a kilometre ago. There's that creepy Monsters Inc. Thing in the lake. There's a really weird little
oh.
Easter egg that you can scroll back and see about a kilometre earlier, but it's a real creepy Easter egg. Mike from Monsters Inc. wearing a little Japanese hat.
Oh, no way. I have not seen that. I'm going back
Yeah.
in the replay footage at the moment and trying to find it.
Oh, if you could find it, it's when you had Ali and McGarry side by side about a kilometre ago. Really creepy. And have a look at them. This is just like a fondo. Two up. This is awesome footage, both on the Tron bike, which means they are both super experienced Zwifters and got on early to the Everest Challenge. But the Zwift bikes with the bullhorns as well, looking super, super fast and probably the fastest bike to have on this course if they were all neutralised and you just went off kilometres
Oh, they're
and
coming onto the
elevation. But
sprint very quickly. Sorry, I'm busy trying
they
to
are
find this
too. Here comes
this weird
McGarry.
Easter
She
egg.
stepped on it. She's got the draft boost, and Ali's got the aero boost. This is really interesting. It's a neck
Oh,
and neck.
the Gary takes
McGarry.
it. I think that snuck up on them like it did on us. I think that unlike the guys who went really early, I think they almost went too late. I will have a look at that one again. I haven't been able
Yeah.
to find that little Easter egg, but I'm going to go out and ride this course now to just see what happens. Let's have a
Yes.
look at these women finish. I think it was kind of they
It
seemed to
was.
just be riding pretty cruisy, to be fair, right up until
Yeah.
they
Well, there was still two
weren't.
laps. Look at this. This is when we had them, and they misjudged the sprint timing because they still had their aero power ups and the draft boost power ups. They still had them rolling after the sprint for quite a distance. So that gives you an idea that they didn't time their boosts perfectly, their aero power ups, and it just kind of snuck up. So they're sort of riding side by side here. And this is when they wheel around 48 k's an hour, so they've still got quite a bit of momentum on the flywheel as well. So when they do step on those pedals, it always feels probably the most realistic to outside sprinting when you're at these speeds, 46 plus k's an hour. But they haven't started sprinting yet. Then they see the banner. Here come the power ups. McGarry with the truck boost, and then Ali with the aero, and you can
Oh,
just see the raw power.
16. 16 watts a
16,
kg. That is incredible. I
yeah,
mean,
that's
you can't beat her
absolutely
with
wild.
that kind of finish there. That is phenomenal. Looks like Kate Spicey took out third in the A category women. So great job to Kate Spicey as well. Jethro, I mean, what do you think? That was some. I don't. I would not have wanted to be out racing that course. That was brutal on the legs. I am seeing a lot of commentary that people are like, "I am toast."
Yeah, it was. I have to say, this was probably one of the best courses I think we've had. A really nice course design. This one for esports racing. We had the sprints, which were really entertaining. The climbs that weren't too hard
Yeah,
and spaced accordingly as well. We've seen before when we've had the epic KOM. It really destroys the race in a way because it breaks up the race so early.
yeah,
But this had the two climbs that weren't mega hard, and
yeah.
then the descent for people to get back on, and then there was bike changes. We had Sam Hill playing silly buggers and
Yeah.
trying to do the time trial hill climb champs on the Temple KOM. We had it all today.
I know. It was very entertaining. I loved that. And I'm looking ahead to next week, and we've got the Knickerbocker course in New York. So different. That is more of
Oh,
a punches kind of a course. I don't know how much you ride New York. I hate it personally. It's just all up and down. There's no flat, just rolls the whole time. So that'll be a really
yeah.
tricky course with some sprints in there as well. So yeah, I mean, how do you see it playing out with these guys? I mean, they've got two more rounds to go, is it? It's
Yeah,
coming down
two
to it.
more rounds. the Knickerbocker climb, like I was talking with Freddie Ovett before the World Championships Esports last year, your avatar barely moves when you're on that steep section. It's like he's standing still, just kind of, you know,
Yeah.
these are the pedal movements. So that'll be really interesting. Actually, there won't be no pacing on to that climb. It's going to be wild, but we might see some more splits in the race on a course like the Knickerbocker.
And look, they're probably going to be pretty motivated by the World Champs happening very shortly. Now, Jethro, I asked you before the show, but I'll get you to put it out there publicly. Tell us your picks, 4 picks, TT road race, men and women.
Well, I think for the men, I can't go past Pogacar, the most complete rider. He'll win the road race either on his own or out sprinting Wout and Van der Poel, and he'll win the TT only because there are so many points where they have to decelerate and accelerate with those corners in the inner city circuit. And for the women, I can't go past the GOAT, Marianne Vos. I think she's going to win, perfect course for her. The Australians do really well. And then Grace Brown is my pick for the TT. She, like Pogacar, will enjoy the decelerations and accelerations required. But what do you think, Anna?
Yeah, I mean, I like Pogacar, but my heart's always with Van Aert. So I'll go Van Aert for the road race. I might agree with you there with Pogacar on the time trial. So I'll give you that. I'll take him from the time trial. On the women's side, I love Anna Kaisenhofer. I don't think she's got it in the road race, but I'm going to throw the hat in the ring and say in the time trial, she's got a pretty sick looking bike. So I think she's going to go pretty hard on that. And Voss, the boss. I love her. Can't go past Voss. She's what a machine. Amazing. I would love to
Yeah.
see her. It was great to see her in the yellow jersey, then the green jersey. Now let's see her in the rainbow jersey.
Absolutely. There's no one that deserves it more than Mariana the GOAT. And I have to say, I agree with you on Anna Kaisenhofer, the machine, the breakaway specialist. We're going to see her go kilometre zero. And I tell you what, if she does get in the break, Anna, this is my pledge to everyone. I'm there every day doing daily podcasts on the Press Room podcast. I'll make sure I get her on if she gets on the break
Oh,
on that Saturday.
love it. Love it. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Talk to her about some maths. I want to hear some math chat.
Oh, yeah, I'll channel my year four maths that I, of course, still remember.
Awesome.
Well, it was so good. We have to send our wishes to Katie Bates, who's just getting better right now. Hope she's watching. Of course she is. And I guess, Anna, it was wicked. Our first time commentating together. And I will do it again next week, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We will. We'll be here next week. So Katie's on the ground. So be a good one. I'll see you then, Jethro.
All right. Take care, everyone. Thanks, Anna.